In this video, guys, we're going to look at trading tips from the greats. Stay tuned. Hey traders, warm welcome to you. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you've seen loads of videos where we've done this because I love to study the greats. I love to look at some of the best traders and investors out there and see if I can grab a little bit of information, a little nugget, a little kind of tip, a little soundbite that I can think about, add to my trading journal, add to my kind of trading plan, add to stuff that helps me become a better trader. So that's why I share this stuff with you. All right, so we've got here trading tips from the greats. These are kind of broad things that I've kind of taken from some of the comments that these guys have said. So the first one is from our good old favorite Jesse Livermore. Now, caveat to this, of course, I did a video talking about why perhaps we shouldn't be using Jesse Livermore as a kind of guru status because of what he ultimately did at the end of his trading career. However, we know that he was a successful trader. It was the ups and downs that caused him to do what he did at the end of his trading career. And if you want to find out more about that, go and check it out. It's on the channel. Search for Jesse Livermore. I'm sure it will pop up for you. Okay, guys, so Jesse Livermore, putting that aside, letting go of losses. Something he was very adamant about was, hey, once you've had a loss, it stings. Yeah, there's no getting away from it, especially a big loss. I'm talking about what he was doing, which was swing trading, big lines, big kind of batches of stock and big bunches of contracts. When he took a loss, it stung. And listen, for you and I as well, we have to get to a point where the loss isn't as meaningful, but ultimately we're still taking money away from us. We're human beings. It becomes less and less emotional, but it's still ultimately there's a level where we're going, ouch. Maybe that's a sequence of losses. That's ouch. Maybe it's a big loss that was more than you expected. That's an ouch moment. So regardless of that, letting go of losses, because it's one of those things that if you allow it to dwell too much, and this is one of the things that he says, is that if you think about it too much, you're trading from a completely different perspective. You're attacking the market from a viewpoint of a completely irrelevant kind of benchmark. And the benchmark is getting the money back from that loss. That loss is annoying me. I want to get it back because I feel if I get that money back, then I can get rid of this annoying feeling. And that's ultimately kind of a chimp behavior, if you like, of, okay, this is hurting. How do I undo the hurt? The hurt is due to the loss. The loss is X amount. So if I make X amount, then the hurt will disappear. And it probably will. Right? You know yourself, I've done it, where you've had a loss, you've traded back, you think, okay, that's great, now the loss doesn't matter anymore, I'm back to where I was, and you feel the relief. But it never, ever, if you're framing it like that, it never works long term because you're trading from a different perspective. So that's the first thing, guys, from good old Jesse Livermore, letting go of losses. They happen, sometimes they're bigger than expected, sometimes more than you expected. You've got to get them go, you've got to let them go, you've got to move on. All right, Alexander Elder, watching trends. Now, Alexander Elder's comment was this. It was, hey, the market is going to trend. The market is going to have ebbs and flows and ups and downs. You need to be focused on what matters. You need to be watching the market, not being involved in caring about the little nuances of it, but looking for those big trends, watching the trends, watching them, seeing how they evolve and being involved in them. So this kind of era, if you go back, I'm not putting Alexander Elder in the same era as Jesse Livermore, by the way, there's a long kind of period apart, but the point is when you go back kind of, you know, way back, you see that there's a lot of people who are making a lot of money from the trends. They were like looking for the big trends, get on the trends, stick on them, do not touch the thing. Trading slightly different now. We don't have that kind of long steady trends in everything. Of course we do still have trends. Some of the pullbacks are sharp, though sharper than we had before. You've only got to look at the recent kind of bull run we've had in US equities. Big steady bull run, but with some pretty brutal pullbacks in between. So watching trends, making sure you're only aligned with the trend and not getting caught up in all the other stuff. All right, Warren Buffett says, know what you're doing. I love this one because, listen, can you imagine Warren Buffett sitting down and day trading US dollar JPY? No, there's no way he would do that. He knows that he's not going to be any good at it straight away. Yeah, I'm sure if he went and did training and kind of sat in and put enough time and effort in, he could be good at it. Like Any trade, if you put enough effort into it and put enough time, dedication, you can be good at it. But he knows, hey, it's not my thing. I'm good at buying undervalued stock companies that have a great business model. So he waits until these companies come down to the price where he thinks it's great value. He looks at the business model. It's a sustainable business model, understands the business model as well, which is why he doesn't get involved in very often in new technology. He gets involved in businesses he understands at a price he thinks is value. And that's it. That's all he does. And so with you as a trader, what's the thing that you're good at? Are you good at spotting a certain chart pattern? Are you good at getting involved in extreme volatility? Are you good at getting involved when it's quiet and trading mean reversion? That's the thing you should be looking at. Know what you're doing and kind of specialize at that. The final one we've got here, guys, from Jesse Livermore is putting in the work. You know, he said something around, I'm paraphrasing here, but you know, the market is a brutal teacher, and it doesn't spare the rod, or something like that. In other words, you know, it's hard, it's brutal, but you need to put in the focus and the effort and the work to get the rewards out of it. But if you look at all these things, and kind of obviously we've just grabbed a handful here to talk about them in a broad perspective, but there's a common theme throughout all of these greats, guys. Paul Tudor Jones is one that I didn't put on here, but all these greats, it's emotional control, letting go of losses. That comes up very often. Not getting too attached to anything that happens in the market. The discipline and dedication, all these things, putting in the work, knowing what you're doing. So discipline to stick to what you know and not try and flit around to different things. And not just because you can't do it, but just because why not stick to what you're good at? Dedication to carry on and keep going and keep pushing forward. Effort. We know it requires effort, guys. We can't just pick something up, put a strategy together and go, hey, great, this is making money for us. The focus and the work, similar to dedication. So focus on one thing, whether it's your trends, whether it's you're investing, if you're Warren Buffett, you're day trading, you're scalping, you're swing trading, stocks, equities, technology, whatever it may be. Focus on it. Keep the laser focus. Don't get diverted and move off to something else, and then put in the work. So that little kind of multiple things to look at there all tie in with anything. I could have had a thousand of these guys from multiple greats out there, and they would have all been along these lines of emotional control, discipline, dedication, putting in the work, all these things. They're all great sound bites, but ultimately come down to those things. All right, guys, if you've got any great kind of comments or tips from the greats, maybe not necessarily quotes, or put a quote if you've got it, and then what's the kind of underlying lesson from it? So there's lots of great quotes, but what's the underlying lesson? Like we know Paul Tudor Jones is losers, average losers. What's the underlying lesson from that? That kind of thing. Stay in the comment section below, and then maybe we'll do another video about it later on. Take care, whatever you're doing. Bye bye.